Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 9 around the Albert Park circuit. Of course, my name is Jake. I'll taking you guys through this as always. Join alongside me as always as well, Mr. QV Verstappen. Yeah, how are you doing this evening?
Hello everyone, and indeed welcome to Division 2 of League of Europe. I'm doing well, and here at the Albert Park circuit in Melbourne, Australia, and very much looking forward to this race, obviously now with the altered track layout. A few changes in as well, make the lap a bit shorter, a few more overtaking opportunities perhaps, so we'll have to see how that pans out.
Certainly do, indeed. And of course, we are just getting into qualifying, as you might have just heard in the background there. But just before we do go ahead and show qualifying for you, I will quickly just run through, I would say the standings, but it's actually more of a different version of it. It's actually the race for the title for this season. So as you can see on your screens now, Mr. QVR Killer on 121 points, IRT Darry on 111 points, MLE Crico on 110 points, and Luke 05 HD on 105 points. They are, of course, the ones that are racing for this title, but I guess you can't also count out Ariel Slash. He is sitting on 78 points, and he is on a bit of form at the moment. So what that is definitely another driver that you cannot count out for the race for the title. As well as Rick and Larkin, they're both sitting in 6th and 7th, only 3 points respectively behind each other and behind Slash as well. So yeah, Rick and Larkin, if they have a good one, then you can't exactly count them out. I've also just clocked, Timon has just retired from the session whilst I'm just doing this. Very interesting.
I was looking at it, and I think he just lost it, because he was about to be the first on the lap. And he just lost it through turn number 9 and 10, somewhere in the transition there. And he's got his front left wheel off. So, likely enough, he'll be starting from the back or anywhere near the back. His teammate, though, is about to start a lap. Licks, not the greatest season far, 13 points in 16th place. Maybe he can improve on that today, we'll have to see. DRS is open for the first time. Going down towards turn 1, the Alfa Romeo. You want to brake about at the 50 meter just a bit earlier to clip the curve quite nicely. Now through turn 2, DRS open once again. Same detection point goes for in right before the penultimate quarter. Now towards turn 3, braking all the way down to second gear. Widened the track there a little bit. They did in real life and also on the game, obviously. And going for 4 and 5 now. It looks quite nice for the Alfa Romeo, I have to say. Down towards turn number 6, a very quick ride, very easy to invalidate on the exit as well, but Lix does keep it quite safe and valid so far. Now through down towards that famous 9-10 chicane, we have a Ferrari inside, shouldn't block it too much. Down towards the chicane, sector 2 split as well, 44.6 is not bad at all actually. 6th gear, just about through 10, this is looking like a decent lap. Again, the third DRS zone is now activated down towards turn 11. Don't want to brake too early here, so curb can send you quite a bit, but he does spin it on the exit. I think it was too low in the gears and just on the throttle a bit too aggressive, and he's lost it there, and he'll have to try again later.
Yeah, very unfortunately for Lix indeed, and yeah, that was actually looking like a very solid lap. Just that one little mistake, of course, caught him out. I'm going to run on board with Mr. CPI Bunty, finally picking up, I think it was his first set of points last week, so we'll see how he does this week in Australia as he makes his way around the final corner now to come and complete his lap. He'll be the first one, of course, to finish that lap, and what time will be on the board for him? It's a 118.331 for the Aston Martin driver, and a few other guys are just making their way across the line. Slash, of course, the one that I'm saying that you can't exactly count out for this championship, done an 18.2 for his first lap in that Alpine. And I said a lot of other drivers are making their way across the line. RJW then goes on to pole with an 18.0, and then Rick completely smacks that one up, a 17.5 on pole so far for the Finn. Resify, demoted from Division 1 earlier on this season, jumps up into, I was going to say second, but Crico just jumps up into that, so Resify now down into third, only just shy of RJ's time as well. So yeah, Rick, a very strong start for the Finn, and again, one that we need to say that we can't exactly count out for the championship, because usually Rick, he's always, a lot of people would like to say he's Mr. Consistent, and it is true in his results. The only time he hasn't scored points was last week, where he didn't actually even race in France. So yeah, Rick has scored points in every single race so far other than last week.
Yeah, definitely. Benji S has gone into second with a decent time there, 17.7. And also, one thing to note is Rick is always very strong in the race. So, and we haven't had any rain this season just yet. So if that does arrive maybe in the second half of the season a bit more, there's definitely a chance for him to maybe challenge for that title. We'll have to see. Just running on board with Dari, who's gone into third place. 1:17.8 is very decent, but not anywhere near this time that Rick has set right out of the gate, and it's quite impressive to have to say the least. Seeing if anyone else on the lap, but I think most of them are actually quite finished now, and maybe more games, but he's not on the quick one, he's actually invalid as well. So yeah, that'll be the first set of runs done. Fairly short track as well, obviously, so that causes that as well. So, but it looks like Rick is looking very confident right now.
Yeah, very, very comfortable for Rick indeed. And as he said, if it's going to rain as well, then that's just going to give him even more of a confidence boost. And like you say, I would normally say as well, he's definitely a lot better in a race in comparison to qualifying. So if he can qualify within that top 5, Rick has definitely got a chance of potentially taking a race win today. He's already won once this season in Singapore. So he's looking for his second win for this season. And again, it will chuck him straight back into that championship contention if, of course, those top 5 all have a bit of a stinker of a race. At the moment, our championship leader, Mr. QVR Killer, sitting in 5th place. Creco, second in the championship, third in the championship, sitting in 4th. And Dari, who's second in the championship, sitting in 3rd. Bit of a tongue twister for that one. But yeah, I said it's very close between those three. Luco 5HD not exactly having a good qualifying session so far. Down in P10, needs to try and get himself up as much as he can. But right on board with Lix in the Alfa Romeo. Go for what I will say is his second lap. Of course, his first one, he did end up spinning at the exit of turn number 13. So hopefully he can try and avoid spinning at turn 13 if he can try and get a decent lap in on the board now as he makes his way up towards the S section towards the end of Sector 2. 44.5 at the end of Sector 2. So this is looking a bit quicker than what he was doing originally. We'll see what he can do in this final sector as DRS is now wide open for the Alfa Romeo around turn number 13 now. Got to try and avoid having that spin. Does still downshift the same way as he did before, but luckily avoids making that spin this time around. Now, penultimate corner. Again, it's very easy to drop it around this penultimate corner and the final corner, especially in this game. And Lix looking like he's done that beautifully. Around the final corner now and up towards the line. Lix looking to try and battle Rick for that pole position, and it's only a P2, a 17.669 for the Alfa Romeo. Lix is looking for a very good result for him tonight, and as I said, he's only picked up 13 points in this season, and they have only come from the second and the third round of Imola and Miami. So yeah, again, he's looking to try and make a bit more redemption within this race for tonight as well. Yeah,
definitely. Of course, he's one that is very quick in the qualifying race, and but he's not been able to quite convert that to race results as often as he'd like to, I think. So maybe tonight, if he can keep that same thing going in the race, then there's definitely a chance for him to even end up on the podium if he is that quick. But we'll have to see if anyone else improves. Of course, still first runs. I was looking at Emily Marsh, who's just come across the line, only P16. 19 flat, not really a competitive time, you have to say. I think it's just Kriko in behind, who is just about to start a lap, actually. And the next one should be across the line. I think it'll be Evans, who's just gone for turn 11, but not quite nicely, I have to say. Going very wide in the exit and almost murders that curve onto turn 12. Somehow still keeps it that valid. Probably would have lost time as well, to be fair. But looking in the exit, let's see where he gets himself to, because the last sector has not looked very good for the Aston Martin. I think that shows in the lap time, a 1:18.5. Is not quite as competitive as I think he's able to get. And just looking around if there's anyone else on the lap. IoT Dari, his split time is a 44.6, so I have to see if he gets there. Actually, his timer is quite a bit down, so he won't actually get there. And I think it'll be Larkin next across the line. He's only gone 13th. I think he might have improved his time, but not the place.
Yeah, a lot of people I think are just starting their laps for some reason. I don't know why on this Codemasters game, but it shows that they've actually started their lap at the coming through the 90-degree right-hander at the start of Sector 3. So I'm not too sure why it says that, but we're just trying to check, of course, on who is on what kind of lap. At the moment, I'm still just running on board with our championship leader of Mr. QVR Killer, making his way through the end of Sector 1. Let's see what he's up on his time, by a tenth and a bit on his time. So this will put him at least up ahead of Dari if he can maintain that gap to his personal best as well. So let's keep on board with the McLaren. We'll see what him and Creco are able to do. Of course, Creco, I was going to say, is a little bit up in front of him, but he's actually come into the pits at the end of Sector 2. Again, it shows purple, 10th and a half up on his time. There is a spinning Aston Martin. I believe that is Mr. Joshua Evans, if I'm not mistaken. But that screen also going very, very slowly at the exit of Sector 3 as well. I think just trying to get his lap time done. Larkin has had a spin out of the 90-degree right-hander, so I think that might catch out quite a few people for tonight. But Killer around the penultimate corner to round the final corner. Let's see what our championship leader can put on the board as he gets the RS now wide open, charging up towards the line. Killer goes up into P2, still not able to best Rick's time of a 17.5, and I believe that was Dari as well, also improving on his time, a 17.6 for Dari. I think that was actually just a little bit up in front. Yeah, Luco 5 as well. He also made that improvement of a 17.809, so he's now chucking his hat back into this qualifying contention. But at the moment, Rick looking so strong on top.
Yeah, he's only just gone out for a second run, so he's definitely not looking too fussed or worried about it. And I think it's mostly the last sector where he gains all the time compared to the others. Seems very strong for now. Just looking around, Rectify is just about to start another lap potentially. I think it's actually Licks on another lap. We'll have to see if he can improve. He's just coming for the final corner. Don't know how he keeps that going in third gear, but he does it. Deer is open, and actually the time is a bit down. So that won't be it for him either. Maybe trying to start another lap, I guess. Yeah, as you said, it's a bit of a mess with all the broadcast glitches here and there. So it's catching me out a little bit here as well. Just looking around if we can find anyone on the actual lap.
I believe I'm actually going to go on board with our current pole sitter, Mr. Rickarich. He is out, of course, on a lap at the moment. Only in Sector 1, but I think there's a couple other guys up ahead of him, but we'll keep on board with, of course, our pole sitter. There is a spinning Alpine of, I believe, that is Ariel Reservoir out in front. And here we go, Slash. Oh, sorry, Rick, almost a 10th up on his time, purple in Sector 1. He's going to look to try and improve this one even further. Of course, all of those guys behind are done their second laps, are trying to catch up to him. Rick only done that on his first lap, so he's definitely got a lot of time to gain, and you can still see 700ths up on his time now to Finn through the elusive S section. Usually was turn number 10 and turn number 11, but of course with there being now less corners on this track, I'm not too sure what exactly corner numbers are. I think 8 and 9 if I'm not mistaken, but now coming through the right hander and, well, both of the double right handers very nicely hooked up from the Finn. Now around the penultimate corner and around the final corner comes Rick. Is he going to be able to keep this one on track? There's a spinning Alfa Romeo. Hopefully that has not put him off, and it doesn't look as if it is, because he is making that improvement. 17.383 for Rick. What a time that is for Division 2. With 5 minutes left to go, that's definitely going to be a tall order to beat.
Yeah, that's a very strong lap, you have to say. And indeed, it'll be very difficult to beat. Someone who is on an improvement looking like those, Emily Tope. He's just coming through turn number 11. Leaves a bit of room on the exit, I'd say, though. So I have to see if he can improve throughout the final sector. He's currently in 8th place, down towards the penultimate corner, 3rd gear. And now it's short shifting up through the final corner. 5th gear, DRS is open. And let's see whether Red Bull gets himself to possibly around Benji. Just ahead, actually. He's close to his teammate in P4 now. So it's definitely a decent time by Emily Tope. Just looking around, anyone else? I think most of these guys are either invalid or just heading back to the pits, so it'll be a bit of a dull point of the session.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think I could be wrong. I think Licks might actually be on a lap. I think I am wrong, actually. I think he has already done his lap, so I don't think there's going to be any improvement from the Alfa Romeo driver. Larkin, I know, had it validated on his lap. Yeah, it does look as if he is, but I don't think he is going to be making an improvement on this lap time from the looks of things. So Licks more than likely will just come straight back into the pits. Yeah, to finish off on that lap. I wonder if Evans is on a lap, though, because I can see... no, in fact, he's actually gearing up to start a lap. So we'll stick on probably Aston Martin because, as I said, I know he is just about to start his final lap, and we'll see what the relentless driver can do as he makes his way up towards turn number 1 now. Of course, starting that lap, DRS now wide open for him. Can he make an improvement on the 18.5? That last sector looked very sloppy on his original lap, so we'll see what he can do. I believe Tope just spinning on his in lap, interesting enough, or just run out of fuel. But going down into towards turn number 3, very nicely done from Evans so far, just trying to keep it as cool, calmly collected as possible. Go through turn 4 and now the elusive turn 5. I know that has caught out a few drivers, and especially on this game the curbs are a little bit more bumpier than in previous games, and he's a 10th.5 up on his time, or just under a 10th.5 up on his lap time. So let's see what he can do. Of course, this part here just nice and flat out, doesn't really need to worry about braking or anything like that, so what shouldn't lose too much time unless of course you are running a bit of a boat in a straight line. But Evans now towards the end of sector 2, 2 tenths up now on his time. So sector 3, this is where he needs to make an improvement. Went very wide out of the exit of the fast right-hander of the S section, but somehow keeps it valid. So Evans is still going to carry on. Doesn't go as wide as he did before, so it's looking like it's a lot better of a sector 3. As I say, that goes extremely wide once again out of the exit of the third to last corner, and I'm surprised it still kept it as a valid lap, to be honest with you. I don't know if the stewards are going to say anything about it, but up to the line comes Evans, and it's up to P3, 17.548. I think that could be a bit under investigation for that one, because that was very wide that he went out twice, and it still kept it as a valid lap.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how strict the stewards will be with that, but I have to see that later on, potentially after the race. With that, but he has put it into P3 for now, so definitely will be happy with that one, I reckon. Just looking at, I think it's RJ who is on the lap currently, and let's see if he can improve. Currently in P11. I feel like this should be a track that should suit him potentially. Of course, he was quick at, I think it was Silverstone that he was quite quick at near the top, but just with a spin near the end, it cost a few points there. He's a bit over a 10th up. Let's see if he can improve more. As we see Ariel Slash actually going to the top with a 17.2. Completely missed that, but yeah, very. Let's see if Rick can bounce back for that later on. We can add RJ. He is a slight bit more up, 1.5 tenths. Now through towards the final sector. He'll get a little bit of traffic. Let's hope it won't hinder him too much. Breaking at the 15-meter board for turn 11. A little bit wide, I'd say. Now going down through turn number 12, down to 5th gear, up back to 6. As he gets Aston Martin right there. We'll have to hope that Haas in front doesn't either, but it won't be ideal, definitely. But on the other hand, he might get a little bit of a slipstream here, who knows? Let's see, RJW to the line, a 117.7, puts him into P9. I never really know if that was more in it, but I guess he won't be too happy with those cars being in the way there.
Yeah, no, he certainly won't. It was, I mean, there's not much that the Haas could have really done either. He was just gearing up to start his lap. Just unfortunate that RJ was just a little bit out of sync with the rest of them. So it may have cost him a little bit on his time. I suppose we will never know. Ben JS, by the way, goes up into P4, up ahead of Evans of 17.547, a thousandth separating him and Evans, and 5 thousandths separating him and QVR Killer. I believe someone else also just made an improvement on their lap time. That was Luke, yeah. Up into P9 he goes. Larkin improves on his time up into P13 and 18.057 for the McLaren man as well. The run on board, I believe, with more games, who might be one of our next ones to cross the line. I'll just keep on board with him. In fact, no, it won't be. It'll be Rex. So the American, see what he can do, as Rick is also just behind him. Is he up on his time as well?
10th up.
This could be interesting.
Let's see if he can get himself ahead of Slash. These two be going neck and neck, sort of. Yes, he does. Actually, 2 tenths ahead of his own time and 1 tenth ahead of Slash now. Let's see if anyone can get underneath that. We'll have to see. Krico doesn't improve. The Scream only goes 13th, and the next one is More Games, and he only goes 18th ahead of Marcio. Let's see. Bunty is next, but he's invalid. And I think it was the 2 Ripples in behind. Darius not improving. Tope has gone into P3. Killer is actually invalid, so he's not going to improve. And I think it's just Ben Jess, but he is done as well, with Licks not being able to improve either. So Paul ahead of Slash.
Yeah, Rick, like I said, I think he's much better in the race and in qualifying, and he puts it on pole position. 17.188 is a very impressive time, to say the least. And yeah, Rick, Congratulations to you for that one. I think this should, and I don't want to commentate as cursive, but I feel like I'm going to. This should be Rick's late race to lose, in my opinion. Slash is very good off the line. I feel like Rick could be even better off the line. And if he does manage to stay up in front of the Alpine, then it's going to be very difficult to overtake that Finn. Again, racing Rick before, he is definitely one that should potentially win this race. He's done it before, and I'm sure we'll see him do it again. But again, Slash, very good time indeed. Unfortunately, just getting pipped by Rick on that one. Taupe and Killer on the second row in third and fourth. Ben JS in fifth. Evans in sixth after a little bit of a controversial lap, I've got to admit, but I think that might be his highest starting position, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, we'll run through the rest of the order very soon. I think it was Dari in seventh and Licks in eighth. But again, we'll run through that very as soon as it does pop up on our screen. So, yeah, here we go. Rick, as I said, taking that pole position for round number 9 for season 8 around Albert Park circuit. Slash line up alongside him in second. As I said, Taupe and Killer in third and fourth, Ben JS and Evans in fifth and sixth, Dari and Licks in seventh and eighth, Luke 05 HD in ninth, RJ in 10th, Creeko, one of the championship protagonists, down in 11th position, not where you want to be whatsoever. Reserfight in 12th, that's Scream in 13th, Larkin down in 14th, Bunty in 15th, Brent in 16th, Rex 17th, More Games in 18th, Marcio in 19th, and Timon. Still a very strange crash that happened at the start of the session where we didn't even get it up on the stream, but it was actually at the start of the S's. Usually people crash at the end of the S's, but it was actually at the start of the S's as where the Alfa Romeo went around. So still not too sure what happened with that. Hopefully he doesn't make that same mistake in the race, but again, we'll never know. Well, we will know soon, shall I say. Australia on this game seems to be a bit of a bumpy track.
Yeah, it definitely is. A few bumps that can catch you out. I know there's one in the braking zone then towards turn 11 on the inside, so especially if you're going side by side there, there's a bit of a chance of you running deep whatsoever. We'll have to see if the drivers can deal with that. And obviously, down towards turn 5 and 6 as well, they are very bumpy corners. So, yeah, it's a new bit of a challenge to deal with that, I guess. Let's see who does the best. I'm expecting all medium hards or hard mediums. Strategy-wise, there might be one outlier going into the softs. They're not horrible, but not really the type you want to be on unless you have some positions to make up potentially. So we'll have to see if anyone does take that risk, but I don't really expect it.
Yeah, like I said, I think everyone's just going to go for a safe strategy, unless, of course, there is going to be any weather changes within this race. It doesn't look as if there is going to be, although I say that the skies look a little bit grey, but I don't think there is going to be any, as I said, any weather changes or anything like that. I think it is just going to stick as the exact same. So let's have a look and quickly have a look, see what tyres everyone has opted to go on. Rick is the only one in the top 5 on a set of the hard tyres. Slash, Taupe, Killer and Ben JS all opting for a set of the medium compound of tyre. It's very mixed as well. Evans and Dari on hards, Luke on hards, Creeko, Reserfy, Larkin, Brent, Rex, More Games and Timon all on a set of the hard tyres. I think that is a ratio of, I think that's 11 to 9 for hard to medium. So yeah, this could be a bit of an interesting one, especially at the start with those top 5, 4 of them on the mediums, 1 on the hards, and the 1 on the hards is at the front.
Yeah, I think some of this could be beneficial to Rick, because obviously what you'll see often is that there's gaps being created here, and if he can just sort of maintain a position, drop down a few, that's not too bad, and just stick within the dearest of these medium runners that are some of the quickest guys in the division, and obviously on the favourable tyre as well. This could be very beneficial for Rick himself if he can stick with him. But then again, for those medium runners, they will want to break away from the Ferrari as soon as they can to drop him and not make him a threat later on in the race. So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one for Rick here, I reckon. If he has that pace they had in qualifying, and which normally he does have, you know, I reckon this is still a good chance for him to win it.
Yeah, no, there's definitely still a good chance for Rick to take this one towards the end of the race. Of course, as you say, he's going to be on a much fresher tyre. The only thing that would catch him out is if a safety car was to come out relatively early, I'd say around lap 7, lap 8, then that's really going to throw his strategy out the window, and then everybody else that would run those mediums can go to a set of hards if he was to go from a set of hards to the mediums on like lap 8, then that's going to be very, very tricky to get those to the end. Of course, everyone is now just lining their way up onto the grid. I'm trying to see if I can get a decent camera angle, but we just seem to be looking behind all of the cars. So I think that's how we're going to get this start for this race, as we're about to see those 5 red lights pop up. As here we go, we have got the 3, 4 and 5 red lights from round number 9 of season 8, and it is lights out and away they go. And it looks as if Rick has gotten a good start, but Slash in fact having a better start of them, or of the top front two, sorry. So Slash now up into the lead of the race, of course being on the softer compounder tyre, gets that move done ASAP. Killer goes up into 3rd position, BenJS up into 4th. I think, who was the one that was on the other, or in that top 5, because they have not had a good start. Taupe already down into 7th position on those medium compounder tyres. I don't know what kind of start he has had, but that was definitely, I think that was Lando Norris escaped Monza. So yeah, Taupe not a very good start whatsoever. Timon having a spin at the back end of the field, Brent as well as that Scream, sorry not Brent, that Scream having a bit of a spin. I don't know if he made contact with anybody at the start there, but yeah, that Scream now down into last position, keeping it relatively tame through the start of this lap, as well as Creco and RJ both battling it out towards the S section, as well as Licks. They're both using the ERS to try and get some moves done. RJ gets the move done before the S's on Creco, and RJ's just going to sit behind Licks. Very nicely done from RJ. Needed to get that move done ASAP. He needs to try and move up on these medium compounder tyre. If he's able to at least get a decent result for today, he needs to get these moves done ASAP.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think there was a bit of contact between Brent and the Scream at the back, and I think Brent definitely does have some sort of damage, and I don't know if there's anyone in behind that has as well. The Scream has definitely got his right end plate gone, and Timon, I think he just spun on his own, so I don't think there was any collision there. Slash is right away off the start, and he has created a 6th to 7th gap on Rick as well now, with Killer being the one that's actually struggling a lot to keep, but he does have a lot of ERS to burn if he wants to. So you see Brent and the Scream, as mentioned, they have damage, they're going into the pits to get that fixed. I think Slash will be very happy with this, because if he just burns a little bit through, he can probably drop the Ferrari here, as we have Larkin and Bunty battling it out for 13th and 14th. Here, Larkin staying ahead of the Aston Martin, who's just in a medium, well, he's in a hard turn as a medium runner, as we have yellows, as Marcio round through turn number 4. Not really a shock at this point, to be honest. Yeah, Rick is trying his almighty best to stick with Slash. You see it. Both of these guys are below 50% already on their ERS.
Yeah, definitely trying his hardest to keep up, and Slash trying his hardest to get away, but Rick is doing a stellar job on these hard tyres to keep up with Slash, to the point where, he, as you say, he's almost dropped Killer out of his DRS. Of course, Killer, I don't think is using any really of his ERS. He's only down on 80% on his ERS, so yeah, him and BenJS aren't using whatsoever, so they'll have a bit more of an advantage when DRS, of course, gets activated. However, Rick, of course, still with 40% of his ERS, so he'll still at least, well, he won't be derating as much at all. And you can already see those top 3 already almost breaking away from BenJS, and Rick setting the fastest lap of the race as well, as RJ trying to go for a move on Licks, now down in towards turn number 1. I don't think he's going to get the move done, has to just sit behind him once again. Maybe when the DRS gets activated, we may see a bit of an easier pass for RJ, but yeah, very unfortunately for him, not able to get the move done. Luke now also struggling to keep up with those top 7.
Marcia gets a speeding pin, and there's a bit of a gap being created here by Slash. I think he's just about got the Ferrari out of his DRS, as the fix point will be at the end of that race. Rex is out of the race here, he's spun through turn 4, and he's definitely hit the wall there, and we have a virtual safety car for now.
Yeah, so virtual safety car has now come out. Of course, I don't expect any of these guys to make an early pit stop. If they do, I will be very, very shocked, but yeah, at the moment, Slash, a very commanding lead up ahead of Rick in second. Still a very good effort from Rick to keep in second position, up ahead of the other medium runners. Killer in third, BenJS in fourth. I said, Taupe, an absolute poor start from him, and I'm sure he probably won't mind me saying, because that was a very bad start. And in fact, him and that Scream are the 2 that have lost the most amount of positions. That Scream losing 6 and Taupe losing 4 off the start. Timon gaining 4 positions off of the start, of course, from Brent, Marcio and Scream having their spins, but still, at least it means that, well, I was going to say Timon was keeping it on the track, but he also had a bit of a half spin in that first lap himself. So, yeah, him and more games, should I say, keeping up with this entire train. But we'll wait, of course, for the virtual safety car to get itself back out, and then we can, of course, carry on the racing. At the moment, it's looking like Slash has managed to break that DRS gap from Rick, so I think Rick is really going to need to try and push himself a bit more to get within DRS of the Alpine, and if he can do that, then he's still got a decent chance. There we go, we're now back under racing, and Rick, again, unfortunately, I think got caught a bit napping from his Delta, because he's now 1.6 seconds behind, when before the virtual safety car it was about I think it was 1.1. So Rick needs to put in a bit of effort and needs to try and use a bit of that ERS to try and get back within that 1 second. Otherwise he's got Killer and he's got Ben JS looking very quick behind him.
Yeah, definitely, but it's still not a bad situation for the Ferrari. So obviously he'll still have that tire advantage in the second half of the race, and he's still with the main protagonist on the other strategy, being Slash, Killer and Ben at this point. So I don't think he'll mind it too much, and I reckon Killer will be looking for a move, as RJ is now finally got that move done on Lex down into turn 11. He is up into P9 and just looked a bit quicker than the Alfa Romeo for that bit. And, as Tope has I think drop it, yeah, for turn 12, and I think he's got damage on his left end plate as well, so he might have to box as well. Go to the heart and maybe hope for a safety car later on. Let's go back to the front as we see Killer about 3 tenths behind on Rick, but Rick has got a good exit out of turn number 2, so it's not going to be easy for the McLaren. He's not going to be close enough to actually go for any sort of overtake. Has to stick him behind for another lap. Rick pace is not too bad, considering he's only lost about 2 tenths throughout the last lap, so we see Recify and Larkin getting quite close together for P11. I think Larkin is just not about able to get through there, but Recify is struggling a little bit to keep with Kriko up ahead, who's not really made that many positions, but obviously he is on the hard tyre, so it will be a bit more difficult as well.
Certainly is, and just running on board with Killer. He's using a bit more of his ERS. He wants to try and get this move done on Rick ASAP. There's been a bit of a spinner. That is that scream at the back of the grid, but here we go, Killer. He's now going to have DRS on the Ferrari. Are we going to see a move go down in towards the right-hander? Yeah, as you say, I don't think he's going to be close enough to getting anything done, so we may have to wait going down in towards turn number 1, but you can already see Killer is looking a bit more racy now in comparison to the Ferrari up in front of him, so he needs to get the move done ASAP. Larkin and Bunty both going at it side by side, and Bunty going off track. Don't know what exactly had happened. I don't know if he got bumped off by Larkin.
I think he locked up, hit the grass on the entry of the corner into turn 11, and just kind of went straight on and had to recover and lost about a good 3 seconds, so he won't be happy with that one. RJ's getting close to Luke. Let's see, Killer's not close enough to Rick for a move. But Luke has had a good exit out of turn 2, so he's not being attacked quite here either into turn 3. And AlphaTauri holds on for now. And Slash is not really pulling away from Rick, and I think that's due to the fact that he's basically got a very low ERS already. He's on 25%. He's not really able to use it much. Of course, Rick doesn't have much more either. So this does play into the hands of the 2 guys behind, being Killer and Ben JS. But they have to make that overtake work. And not to mention as well, Evans and Dari are still fairly close as well. Evans still being in the train as Timon gets the first corner cutting penalty of the race. Have to see if Killer is eager to get through. He's just alright sitting behind the Ferrari here.
Yeah, I'm still just also riding on board with RJ. Here we go. Move going to be done now. Out and towards the 90-degree right-hander. RJ down the inside on those medium compound tyre. Luke not going to try and fight that one too hard. The other spinner of the other Haas as well. Evans is retired from the session, and that's his car right in the middle of the track, and that is a full course safety car. So now the guys on the mediums, RJ has played this to perfection. That's Slash going to come out behind the safety car. I think he's just got in front of it. No, he has to let go. He's been disqualified.
He has been disqualified as he's passed the safety car, I think, too late. And yeah, at that point, it just disqualifies you. Oh, that's such a shame for him.
I can't believe that. So that's just completely switched everything. Rick is now going to be leading this race. However, Killer and Ben JS have got to pit for a set of the hard. Yeah, like you say, RJ is on for a win for tonight. As long as he doesn't do what he did in Britain, then RJ is in an absolute prime position for a race win for tonight.
This brings Tope somehow in it as well, because he's obviously pitted for damage onto the hearts. So with the safety car, he can save the tyres a little bit. Probably still make it to the end, and he's back into a net P4 with Lix and Bunty ahead. who have got some sort of record this season of not finishing too much. So this, there's definitely opportunities. There's more games is spun there through turn number 1, and he's had to let Brent through, or he might have just broke himself on cold tires. Just put it to the mediums. But yeah, this has thrown the entire race on its head, and I definitely think someone like Rick won't be happy with this. Of course, the benefit for him still will be that he can. He still has a few cars in between himself and RJ. He seems to have a lot of pace as well. So I don't think Rick is necessarily out of it, but it won't be easy for him, and definitely not as easy as he would have liked it to be. I reckon Killer and Ben Jess should go into the pits this lap. They practically have to. No, Killer's actually stayed out. Ben Jess has gone in. Surprised by Killer's strategy here.
I think Killer's just hoping for another safety car to come out, so he's going to stay out on a set of the medium compounder tyre. Ben JS is now coming in to the pits for a set of the hards as well. That's really, I'm still baffled about what happened with Slash. I thought he was ahead of the safety car when it came out, but clearly not. So it's now disqualified him, which I feel for Slash, because he was looking on for a potential race win, or at least a potential second place. But yeah, it's now thrown everything up in the air, like you say. And RJ, Licks, and Bunty are all in a very, very good position, which I didn't think I'd be saying, to be honest with you. But yeah, both of the Williams are now looking in a bit of a better position, even though Ben Jess has just where he's pit, he's actually come out just behind Tope, so he's not in a necessarily bad position either. Still only really 5 behind his teammate, who is technically in the net lead.
Yeah, that's why I'm so surprised. I said Bunty is just basically stopped. Very curious about what's going on here. He's now behind Tope. I think Tope has to kindle him through. I'm guessing they kind of got caught up in a little bit of incident. We'll see if anyone gets a penalty. We hope not, obviously. But yeah, it's that's why I'm so surprised Killer didn't pit, because there was still like a very easy. At least he would have been in the net P5 sort of range. Would have been in, and it allows for less cars in between Rick and RJ and himself in the end as well. So it lets him an advantage for the Ferrari in that sense. So I'm a bit surprised by Killer's call here. And yeah, Ben is still in that decent position, arguably quicker than some of the guys ahead as well. So I have to see if he can make his way through.
I think we could be seeing a Williams 1-2 here. I think if they play it right, there's definitely a hope. There's definitely an opportunity that both RJ and Ben could be on this podium. So I suppose, again, we'll wait and see. We've got 21 laps left to go. Of course, when the safety car does make its way in, Marcio is the only one that we are waiting for, and he's just coming through Sector 3 as we speak. So yeah, again, as you say, I'm still very surprised that Killer's called to not actually make that pit stop. As you say, he would have been in the net 5th up ahead of Ben. Ben Jess would have been in a net 6th position, and even then, like you say, him and Killer, you know that they are relatively quick from where they've qualified, so they can make some moves up. Marcio has actually binned it under the safety car at the final corner.
Yeah,
That sounded like a bit of a facepalm.
Honestly, yeah, the amount of times that he's managed to spin, I can't even be that surprised. It's Slash's life decision. Probably out of frustration, which is totally understandable, honestly, with the way he's gone disqualified. I reckon we should go back underway this lap. So yeah, there comes the confirmation, and this is where Rick will lead the pack and try and get a gap as much as he can, and hopefully get a bit clearer. And maybe he has to hope for another safety car later on, but for now he has to focus on getting as much time as possible on the guys who have pitted already and don't necessarily need to have to pit again.
Yeah, so we're going to be, of course, as you say, getting this one underway very soon. Rick, of course, going to be taking us on this restart. Probably the first of, I want to say there'll probably be at least another safety car in this race. So we'll shout our wait and see. But let's see when Rick is opting to go, because he does look as if he is trying to almost keep up with the safety car. He's going through the penultimate corner now. It doesn't look as if he is going as of yet. He still hasn't actually even gone yet either, so we'll see when he goes. He's now gone, so Rick has now gone for it, and Killer has read that like a fiddle. Luke has actually gone past Dari, I think, before the line. Rick goes back onto the racing line. I think Luke, he had to give that one back up to Dari, so Dari now back up in the 3rd position, but now Luke has free reign to try and go for this move on Dari. Down in towards turn 3, Dari's going to try and go defensive in towards turn 3. He doesn't go defensive in the end. Luke tries to sneak up the inside, and oh my goodness, what has Larkin done with that? What's happened there?
Baffled. It just came in almost at full speed. It must have had a collision in behind with someone. There's almost no way anything else would have happened. There must have been some sort of contact in behind, and that just sent him in. But that's bad news for Luke. It's bad news for Dario caught up in it as well, and Larkin himself obviously as well. I don't know how much he was at fault or not. I have to see later on, I guess. But that does promote Krico now into 3rd place, Rectifying 4th, time in the 5th, and RJ is now looking for the move on the ladder one, and the Alpha Male, let's see, down the inside of turn number 11, later on the brakes. I don't think that should be too much of an issue. He goes through, and I think Lix is going through as well, as Time won't fight his teammate that much, I reckon, with his teammate being in a good position for potentially a podium. So RJ is now into P5, and that's going to help him quite a bit, and he has Rectifying Krico up ahead, and then there's a big gap to kill already.
Yeah, it certainly is. So RJ now, as I said, in the net lead. Bunty also trying to see if he can get a move done on Timon as well. He has to try and go on the grass on the outside. Timon goes defensive in towards turn 1. Bunty's going to have a bit of a better exit, but not going to be able to get the move done. Reservoir picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Still not going to be able to get the move done. And you can also see Pope also on the back of these guys as well. Again, still no moves going down. Timon just parking the bus as well. And I don't know what... still, again, really baffled at that collision, because I think Dari surely has now got side pod damage from that, because that was just completely out of nowhere and into the side of him. So I think Dari's definitely got himself some sort of damage on those side pods. Tote picks up now a 3-second time penalty. Those Red Bulls not having a good day whatsoever. But I'll tell you who is having a good day. It's those top 2 of Killer and Rick. They have both managed to get away by quite a bit amount as well. 3 seconds now separates Killer and Krico, and of course Killer will need to make that pit stop very soon. I think the only saving grace for him is Timon.
Yep, he's dropped it out of turn number 10, and yeah, that chicane just being a bit of a nuisance to everyone. As he's retired now, has he just been into the wall? It's the screen is fun as well, and we have another safety car. And Rick has gone past the pits. Killer is just about called down, gone into the pits. Krico and Rectify now in as well, and that just promotes the whole bit in behind up a few positions as well. Yeah, I'm very confused what happened with Timon there. Let's see, I'm working with Luke. Still to the right here. Just car disappeared. It just looked like he tried to get on the power maybe again and just spun it. Hey, tires being a little hot, I'm not too sure.
These last 2 laps after that safety car has been something else. I don't know what has gone on with all of this, but
this has hurt Rick so much, because he's now being held up by the safety car. Well, he had potentially, if the safety car came out 5 seconds earlier, he would have called that and gone into the pits. And out of experience at D1, you can't make it to the end from here on the mediums, so he'll be gutted. He'll definitely be gutted, and he's just thrown the entire race on his head once again. But I think RJ, Lex and Bunty, they're still in that good position. Tope as well, but he has a penalty, and Benjis will be benefiting from that as well.
Yeah, no, he certainly will. So RJ is going to inherit the race lead. I think Rick surely has to make a pit stop at the end of this lap. There's no doubt about it. So Rick should be making that pit stop, unless he is, of course, going to stay out and hope for yet another safety car. However, look at where Killer is. He's down in 10th position. The only other person that hasn't made a pit stop from that is Dari in 8th. So Rick and Dari are still... they'll come out behind Killer, which who Rick was battling with, if he does pit this lap. If he does stay out, though, where could he go? He is staying out, so he will stay in the race lead. RJ will still be in 2nd position. And I'm getting a bit of deja vu from Division 3 last season. I'm not going to lie here, yeah. It was always these 2 battling it out with Tope. Pope's in 5th and still in the fight for this race win.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of a deja vu for you then. So the screen was fitted back onto mediums now. I guess he just had to make the mandatory stop or something. Just get it done. I guess he was on another tyre, but not too sure why he's pitted twice. Then maybe he just pitted to the wrong tyre initially. Guess that must have been the case. One driver that I'm curious with started here as well as More Games, which pitted on to the mediums in the first safety car. I'm guessing he started on hards. I'm pretty sure he did. So he can't go quite back to those unless it is a bit later in the race. I guess he doesn't have the faith that he'll make it to the end.
Yeah, I think he is just thinking that they won't make it to the end of the race, despite being 6 laps on those mediums. So yeah, I'm quite surprised that the Irishman hasn't made that pit stop either, because then he's now, when he does make the pit stop for maybe a set of softs later on in the race, he could go for the fastest lap, but could also be a bit hindered from this as well. So I'm not too sure what that could be about. Again, we'll probably see towards the end of this race as to what his strategy is. Again, we said this before in one of our previous races, that they were a bit clumsy on their strategy, but it turned out to be the best strategy that happened for them. Ironically, I think that was actually Singapore, where Rick won. So he's going to look to try and, of course, do that again. But, of course, now second safety car restart going to take place, once again led by the Finman of Rickerick. And we'll see how where he opts to go this time. He's going a lot slower behind this safety car in comparison to where he was before. So I think Rick might try to opt and go maybe a corner or two before the start-finish line, especially if he doesn't want to get caught out again like he did with Killer. Luckily for him, Killer didn't opt to go for the move in towards turn 1, but RJ could be a bit of a different story. Let's have a look at where Rick goes. He has actually gone now. So out of the final corner, Rick has gone. RJ not exactly been caught sleeping, but not had a good restart either. And yeah, it's looking very tame sort of throughout the field. Brent is the one that's definitely been caught sleeping. There's Killer trying to go for the move on Brent. And in fact, he had to let him go. Frank passed and Brent backing off of that one. So now Killer up into 9th position, already making that overtake down in towards turn 1. More Games trying to go for the move as well on Ben JS down in towards turn 3. Ben's going to try and cover down that inside. Ben moves to go to the More Games goes to the outside and maintains that position for now up ahead of Ben JS is maintaining that position up ahead of More Games. But again, I don't think this could be over very soon. RJ now already dropping out of a second from Rick. Rick is on an absolute charge to try and get as far as he possibly can without another safety car coming in to intrude all of this. To be fair to Rick, he could go on a set of softs towards the end of this race, which I think is what he might be planning. If he did, because he didn't make those pit stops under those 2 safety cars, I think he is opting to try and go for a set of the softs at the end of this race.
More Games just gets past with Derry, but the switch back out of turn 10 might work out in the Haas's favour. See if he can get himself alongside, not quite. He has to back out of that one. Meanwhile, in behind, we have Rico getting past on Brent now. He's just falling another position down to the German there. And yeah, RJ is having to burn a little bit. I think he's kind of given up now. Just seeing, okay, Rick is too quick. He's not on the same strategy, so I have to pull away. But he has pulled the gap to Lix now, who is at 1.2 seconds behind. Looks quite slow on the straights, honestly. Just what I've seen there as Rectify gets past on Brent as well. And Bunty is in a decent position. He still has basically a full tank of ERS compared to Lix's 70, even though it's only a lap of the safety car, so Brent gets a penalty. So Bunty might be trying for a move on Lix in the coming laps here or there. We'll have to see about that one. Bunty doesn't look too bad here either.
Like I said, I think Bunty could actually be on for a podium as well, because with Rick making that pit stop later on in this race, he's just got to hope there's not a timely safety car that will affect him. Brent having that spin. In fact, Brent is out at turn number 5. Don't tell me it's going to cause another safety car. It's caused another safety car. So surely now Rick has got to make... is Rick going to do this pit stop now? Because if he does, he's lost. Like, Rick's in a bit of a catch-22.
Yeah, if you're curious to see at this point, would you pit? Because, yeah, as you said, you are lost. You don't have that much of an advantage. But then again, if there's no other safety car, then what are you doing? So, let's see what he does. He does go in. I'm guessing that's just the safer call. And I'm guessing Darry might do the same, although he might be still out there to help Tobe out. Obviously, he has to think about his own championship chances as well. and he's gone in as well. More games followed. Obviously, that's not too weird of a call. If he wasn't an older set of mediums, and maybe someone at the back will go in as well, but I don't think that's the case. So Rick will be all the way down into P12, which is still the points. A few penalties up ahead, and obviously some hard runners as well. He has the best tyres on the grid. I don't think it's a bad result, but I think the chance of a podium are very slim for Rick. Although we have seen his pace has been quite amazing, so I wouldn't rule him out, but it's definitely a bit of a tough situation as of right now. We'll have to see, but yeah, RJ is now leading, ahead of Lix and Bunty, and I gotta be honest, when predicting the things at the start of the race, I wasn't really thinking this would happen, to be honest.
Yeah, there's at this moment we've gotten halfway through this race now under our third safety car, and I'm really intrigued on how this is now going to end. We've got half the grid on the hards, the other half of the grid on the mediums. However, the grid on the hards are all from first down to sixth, and of course more games at the bank on the hards as well. So from 7th down to 13th are the medium runners. So they've got there's definitely going to be a lot of overtakes that are going to be attempted, and I think we're going to see quite a bit of aggressive driving through from a few of these guys. We've already seen it from ahead of F1, thought he'd try and go for a bit of a double overtake. Unfortunately, he cut the grass and hit into the side of Darry, but didn't work out for him. So marking down in 10th position at the moment with a penalty to his name as well. I won't be surprised if that gets stewarded later on after this race, but because I'm pretty sure that has caused Darry that animosity with that. And I don't know what's just gone on at the back there with Darry and more games, but
yeah,
I'm assuming Darry might have had a bit of a slip.
I think more games actually overtook Darry on the safety car. Of course, you know how the game works with that. It doesn't allow you to give it quite back, so more games just went straight on into the gravel to give the position back, because it only works when you're off track. So fair play to the Irishman on that. Trying to give that mistake, but we don't want to see that sort of driving either way. Obviously, you want to be alert and not try and overtake people under the safety car. It's kind of the main point of it, isn't it? So, well, that's all sorted. That's good. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting here whether these hard runners can hold on or that the medium runners are going to come through. Obviously, the thing as well, Killer's on the best hard tires here. He's probably arguably the quickest out of the top 6. But then he has all the medium runners in behind as well, so it's really on its head, essentially, with the quicker guys in behind and the slower guys, arguably slower, up front, obviously with the tyre life as well playing into that. So I have to see. But RJ did look out for the last safety car restart to be able to pull away from Lix, so Lix looks a little bit vulnerable, and that might be something to capitalise on for the rest of the grid. And I think we might be going in this lap, potentially. Yes, we are. So RJ will be leading the grid this time out.
Third safety car, two different people for doing a restarts. Of course, Rick did the first two. RJ now in the lead of the race, and will be doing the third safety car restart. Probably still will see at least one more safety car if it's going the way that it has done so far in this race. And RJ doing what Rick did under the first safety car, just trying to almost keep up with the safety car. So I think RJ might opt to go for a late restart, as did Rick before. We'll see where he does opt to go, as it doesn't look as if it's out of the last corner. Where is the Williams going to try and go, and is he going to catch out Lix in the process of it? Yep, he's now gone, and Lix has not really been caught out. In fact, Lix has actually done a very good job of sticking to the back of RJ Tope as well, almost trying to go for the move. Larkin has been let go by Screamer. In fact, him and Screamer side by side. There is a AlphaTauri that's gone off the track. That is Luke, now dropping down positions as well. So Luke now down into last position after that safety car restart, but it's looking very tame, or a lot more tame, shall I say, from that first safety car restart. Rick already now up into 10th, battling that Scream as that Scream trying to go around the outside, a bit of contact with him. That Scream just understeering into the side of the Ferrari, and that Scream is now dropped down into last position at the exit of turn number 4. So, yeah, very unfortunate for that scream. It was a good battle between him and Rick, but just as I said, getting a little bit too greedy on the throttle to try and push Rick out on track. Meanwhile, a little bit up in front, Taupe now trying to opt to go for a move on Bunty before the S's. He's so close to the back of the Aston Martin, but has to back out of attempting any sort of move. So let's see as well. Before we also say this, Taupe has got a penalty, so he's already at a bit of a disadvantage in comparison to those guys all around him. Creco is definitely one we'll need to keep our eye out for. 6 laps on those mediums so far. It will get those to the end. Are they going to be able to at least maintain their pace until the end of this race?
Yeah, and Killer was all the way on the back of Ben JS as well. And yeah, this whole little group is actually very close together, with RJ having a little bit of a breathing room there. Resify is looking for a move on Creco despite this penalty. Down into turn 1, it will be very difficult to do that, and he has to back out of that one for now. Maybe down into turn 3, we'll see some moves. Killer once again on the back of Benji's, not quite close enough. Benji's having more straight line speed, and just holding on there. Let's see someone going wide a little bit. That's Taupe. Taupe is just going to hold on to the position ahead of Benji's, with Dari and Rick battling him behind. So Dari's coming back up into P10. Ahead of Rick now, so he is not looking too bad either. He might be able to get a few positions, especially with penalties up ahead as well. And down towards the S's, it'll be very difficult to make a move again. But Dari is looking for it on the back of ERT Larkin now down towards turn number 9. Have to see if he can make this one stick. He's looking down the inside. He's going for a gap that's nearly not there. Down the inside. He's going to be able to make a stick. Side by side. He has to switch back. He has to back out of that one. Let's see. ERS is once again enabled. Has to see if he can go for the move. See down the outside of turn number 11. Just about later on the brakes. And I think he's got him. Larkin is still hanging on the inside though. Not over just yet. But I think Dari's just about got that through. Brilliant move by the Red Bull.
Very good move indeed, and now Rick trying to follow him suit as well. Rick going to try and go for the outside move on the final corner, but not able to get that move done. And there's Resify. Yeah, Resify now crashing and DNFing. Is that going to cause yet another safety car? Yes, it has. As DRS just got enabled, Rick was eyeing up a move on Larkin as well and couldn't get that move done. Reason why as well, I was saying, on that last lap, Rick dove it up the inside of not 1, not 2, but 3 cars into turn 3, hitting the side of Resify, and it caused him to half spin, so put him back down into his position behind Dari, behind Resify, and behind Larkin. So Rick was, as I said, was eyeing up that move and needed to get that move done ASAP, and unfortunately couldn't. Dari had a very good safety car restart up into 8th, and of course now we're going to have yet another safety car as well. So RJ is going to be taking us through once again, yet another safety car. Interesting thing to note. Are we going to see anybody go for a set of the softs? Maybe the guys towards the back end of the grid. Could they potentially go for softs to the end?
I think you can. Whether you want to, I don't know. If you're more games, you are pitting here. Like, at this point, you have a penalty. You have the worst tires. The only person you can maybe get is Larkin, who's on 6 seconds. But even then, he has got the better tires, and he will make it to the end. And arguably is quicker as well. So it won't be easy for him. At this point, you just pit for the softs and you try and make up as many positions as you can, I reckon. I think if you're in the top 6, you don't do it because you have the track position. Maybe Toe, yeah, he goes in. That, as I said it, because of his penalty as well, he's just gonna do the same thing I said more games are gonna do. Larkins as well, and more games as well. So, and the Scream obviously was all the way at the back, so that's not too surprising that he's gone in as well. So all the guys with the pens plus the Scream are in. I reckon they'll all be on softs. It is close enough to make it to the end. Yes, they are. So there's more tire difference here. And now we got 5 people on hards, 4 people on mediums, and 4 people on softs. So it's getting quite mixed. And obviously the guys on softs will try to make as many positions as possible very quickly. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no, it certainly will be quite an interesting end towards this race. Of course, we have got 9 more laps left to go, and it's been nothing but carnage in safety cars. As you can see, we've had 7 DNFs. Well, I'll say 6 DNFs and a disqualification from Slash, which is, in terms of that, still a little bit BS in my opinion, but unfortunately, we can't reverse it. So Slash, of course, as I said, was out of the race from leading earlier on in this race. RJ made the perfect strategy call early on, and pit Licks, Bunty, Ben JS as well all made their pit stops as well. And again, RJ is looking like he could be on for his first win of the season. And ironically, it will be his first podium of the season. So his first podium, going to be his first win. Not a bad one for, not a bad first podium for him for the season, I've got to say. And we'll see if he's able to at least get that done. He has got Licks behind him, who Licks in qualifying didn't look too bad. It was having a few spins on a few of his laps, but in this race so far, he's kept it nice and consistent, at least keeping Bunty at bay, which has then kept Ben JS at bay. And yeah, Licks has drove a nice, comfortable race so far, as Luke, in fact, in as well. So I think he was feeling under threat from the rest of those soft runners behind him, which I don't blame him. And the thing is that he'll at least get the jump on a few of those penalty holders as well. So he knows he won't at least be finishing last unless he makes a mistake himself. It's just if he's going to be able to try and challenge those guys on the mediums and the hard tyres as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I get why Luke's pitted, because at this point, like I just said, he's going to jump those soft runners anyway. And you only lose out to the Scream, who's on slightly older softs, and probably Luke thinks, I might have more pace anyway than if I have on the older mediums where I might struggle to stay ahead of the Scream. So it makes complete sense to pit there. The medium guys are going to be in a bit of a hustle. I think they'll be very eager to get through, because if they don't, the soft runners is going to be right on them right away. Of course, the Red Bulls can play as a team a little bit. They're fairly close together. So there's a bit of opportunity for them there. But yeah, these guys need to make moves, and it hasn't been proven to be easy. We'll have to see if they are able to do it, as I think we'll get about 7 laps of racing if we don't get another safety car. And just for the ones who are running, we are running on the right settings. I did check that, so no worries on that one. But RJ will be leading his second safety car restart, the 4th one total of the night. So to see if he can create a gap once again, as Bunty is creating that gap currently.
Yeah, certainly is. So we'll see if he's able to try and stay up ahead of all of those guys. RJ, I don't know. I think he's still got this win in hand. However, it depends on when he's also going to go, as well as if he can keep the medium runners and those soft runners behind him with 7 laps to go. Australia not exactly an easy one to overtake at. RJ has now opted to go, and we are getting back underway. So let's see. RJ had a very good safety car restart. So has Licks, so has Ben JS, and so has Killer. Everyone just still running in formation. Licks having a bit of an off though through turn 2, and now Bunty going down his inside in towards turn 3. Bunty has now picked up 2nd position. Killer opting to try and maybe go for a move on Ben JS. Ben JS moving a little bit out in the braking zone, but goes back into line, so keeps that position up ahead of the McLaren. Ben JS now up into 4th, but also picks up a penalty through turn 2 as well. So Ben JS now at a disadvantage himself in comparison to everybody else in this in this train, shall I say. No one on those softs has made any sort of moves so far, but of course we're only just coming through sector 2 now, so there's still opportunities for all of these guys to make some sort of move. And I'm looking to Kriko, as he's looking the closest to potentially go for a move on one of those hard runners. In fact, I say that Dari also very, very close to his German counterpart, but not going to go for a move as of yet. It's just whoever's going to be braver on the brakes, I would say, in towards this heavy braking zone, may potentially pick themselves up a place. And it's looking like no one's really opting to go for a move at this moment. They've all kept in line, and they've all kept in the same position so far in this lap. Well, they're saying that Rick under pressure from Tope.
Yeah, obviously, because the slower guys are in front, as we see Tope and Rick side by side almost there through the penultimate corner. Tope is trying to get a move done here. Of course, the hard runs in front, so it's going to cost the pack to bunch up a little bit. Killer's trying for a move from Ben JS, not quite into turn 1, has to back out and for a good exit down towards turn 3, and he does get that. He is on the back of the Williams. Is he going to go for a move down towards turn 3? Ben JS with a lot of straight line speed there. Killer's looking around the outside. No gap there though, so he has to back out of that one, and they just keep following one by one. But it is only a matter of time for someone actually goes for a proper move, and it causes all to disrupt. RJ is looking fairly comfortable at the front, but I wouldn't count Bunty with his 90% ERS still, compared to RJ's 70. Few going for the grass for turn 6, and allows Kriko now onto the back of Killer along this long twisty straight in. have to see if Rico can get himself alongside, but Dari and Rick are right on that as well. Not quite able to make a move down into turn 11 potentially then. Rick has got a good exit onto the back of Dari. See if he can make a move work. Dari outside of turn 11 will be difficult one. See Killer alongside of that as well. So see Rico going side by side. Dari has collected him, and Dari is into a spin, and he's now down into 13th position. He has to hope they can catch back up and hopefully gain a few positions off of penalties or other people making mistakes. Going on to lap 25 now.
Yeah, and you can't really say Dari's still out of this. He does need to just try and see if he can gain back on the DRS of those soft runners because of course all of those guys having them penalties of Tope, Larkin and more games. So he's not technically still out of the points positions. He's just got to try and catch back up to them. Rick so close to the back of Krico, and in fact going for the move down the inside. It was turn number 3. Him and Krico both still side by side through turn number 4. Krico will have that inside. Once that between the pair of them, they both go around as well. Krico looked like understeering into Rick. I couldn't properly see that though, but now they're down in 12th and in 13th, and now it's allowing those soft runners, as in fact Larkin got the move done on Tope as well, it's now going to allow those soft runners to go for those hard runners. 4 lap old softs compared to Killer's 13 lap old hards. Krico picked himself up a 3-second time penalty as well. This race is now blowing itself wide open. All those medium runners are now down at the back.
And the thing here as well, the McLarens are next to each other. How is this going to play it? Is Larkin just going to play a rear gunner for Killer and hope that Killer just secures that essentially P4 now with Ben Jess's penalty? Or is Larkin just going to go through and maybe cause some disruption and help Killer that way? Because I reckon there's no chance they don't try and help Killer. Well, Larkin doesn't try and help Killer here. I think they're too close for that not to happen. Ben Jess is going for a move on Lexo on track. I have to see, then he has at turn 1, he has to back out of that one. The Lex is almost derating, and Ben just still has a little bit of ear as he does get out of shape a little bit through turn number 2, and that allows Killer to go alongside here. But again, Ben Jess's straight line speed seems immense currently. Killer does go for it on the move and just gets collected on the curb a little bit, spins into Ben's car, but that ultimately saves him as well. So he keeps it in 5th position. And saves himself from losing a lot of points here, while his championship rivals are all down in the lower end of the positions. Luke being the highest one up at P9, and he'll probably end up quite close to him actually, given all the penalties in between. Larkin's going through on Killer here, so I reckon Larkin will try and cause as much disruption as he can and help Killer go up a few positions that way, but it won't be easy obviously, as Ben Jess is obviously basically guaranteed to be losing out to that one. More games looking for a move on Tope, though in behind, down the outside of turn 11, looks for Captain's not really there, locks up on the front left and has to back out of that one.
Can't forget as well, Larkin is still in the race against Ben JS, because Ben had that penalty. In fact, Ben's actually had a moment, and there's also a bit of contact in the back as well. That scream going around in the back as well, and Ben JS dropping it a couple positions as well. So now, Larkin in 4th, and in fact, Ben's now gone round. So Ben's now out of contention for this podium, and potentially out of contention for the points. Rick and Scream are coming through the final corner now. Yeah, Ben now out of the points with his penalty. So that's now gone from what looked like it could have been a double podium for the Williams. He's now out of contention of any sort of points. And we have, of course, now crossed that threshold. There should not be any more safety cars in this race. So it is now just pure racing. Larkin up into 4th with that penalty. He will still at least drop behind Killer. But there is a chance that he could try and gap Luke from those 3 seconds. Oh, it's got 6 seconds. Okay, that completely screws it over then. Rick picks himself up a 3-second time penalty now as well. So, yeah, Larkin is going to be dropping back behind at least Luke and Dari as well. So we'll see if Larkin, as you say, can cause any sort of mayhem going on. Killer, I think, is going to be the one that plays the rear gunner for Larkin at the moment, and he's doing a good job, of course, with that. As I say that, Dari now picks up a penalty, so that's now that could throw him out of contention of getting a jump on Larkin.
Yeah, it's very close actually. Exactly 3 seconds is the gap currently, and with Larkin on the better tyres, that looks to be in the McLaren's favour for now. But I have to see if their softs hold on for these last couple laps. This is the point where they do get a little bit scruffy here and there, but they still have some sort of phase. Reckon, especially over 21 lap old hards up ahead. And Lex will be the first one to see that McLaren in his rear view mirrors. Let's see if Larkin can go and cause any disruption, but I don't think it's close enough for down into turn 3. And obviously, the battle for the lead, we can't look away from that too much either. RJ on 40% ERS, as Ben JS has now retired from the session, claiming that everyone is now still in the race. They will get some sort of points. Bunty, he still has 70%. He is looking possibly the favourable one, but does RJ have enough to defend with? 1.5 lap to go, and there's only a good 3-4 overtaking opportunities here for the Aston Martin.
I think we have to stick on board with this battle. I know that's going on behind us, but I think we may have to stick on board with this one because this is going to get a bit tasty in these final 2 laps. DRS is now going to be enabled for Bunty and not going to be close enough to getting the move done on RJ down in towards the 90-degree right-hander, a little bit further behind as well. You can see more games trying to go for the move on Tope. Going to try and get that move done. I think he's going to try and hold it down the inside on him, and there's a bit of contact between them. Tope, I think, tried turning a bit too early, and more games now dropping down. Another position to Luke, so Luke now up into 6th. Luke is on for a potential podium now as well, up ahead of his championship rival of Killer. Killer literally 1.5 seconds up in front of him. Darry gets the move done on more games as well, so I don't know what had happened with that. I think, yeah, a bit of collisions going on with that. Now on to the final lap of this race. Bunty is in a prime position. DRS is now going to be enabled for the Aston Martin, and he is using that ERS to his effect. But I don't think, he's not going to be getting close enough to getting this move done. So RJ is going to remain out in front at this moment. There are about 2 more overtaking opportunities to go, and that is after not this fast right-hander, but the next fast right-hander, and down in towards, or just after the S section where the DRS is going to be enabled. So we'll stick on board with the Aston Martin to see if he can get a better run out of this corner in comparison to the Williams. He's using his ERS to try and get as close as he can to the back of RJ, and you can see RJ is derating. Bunty still has about 20% left in his arsenal. He's going to try and go down the inside and towards the yes, he goes for the move down the inside. Bunty now into the lead of this race. RJ doesn't get the DRS. Bunty now going to be taking this win. From the looks of things, if he can keep it on track for these last few corners, Bunty manages to get the move done while it looked like it was RJ who was going to be winning this race. After all of this time, Bunty kept it cool, calm and collected, comes around the penultimate corner and the final corner, and it's looking like Bunty, after all of that, no one would have called that, Bunty will win record number 9 around the Albert Park circuit. RJ finishes 2nd and Lix ends up taking 3rd in the end. What a race that was in the end, and Bunty, give yourself a pat on the back. What a move that was from him indeed as well.
I am so shocked that he went for that. I was waiting for him to go into turn 11, the prime overtaking opportunity with the DRS. No, he just catches the Williams of RJ off guard, sends it down the inside, and then RJ just completely looks stunned of that move and then had no response there, which leaves Bunty out for the race win. What a sensational ending to this race, I have to say. Great overtake there by Bunty, and to close that one off, made the right strategy go obviously in the first safety car, and he's just put himself into that position, kept his ERS clean throughout this race. That's one thing we've noticed, and it paid off for him at the end there. What a sick overtake! I can't even lie.
I agree. That was ridiculous. Yeah. As I said it in the Discord, he is an absolute madman, and wow, what a move for the race win. Fully deserved in my opinion. After that, RJ was leading for all of that. He played the perfect strategy and still ended up on the podium. Managed to pick up his first podium of the season, but wow, Bunty. I think that's his first win with no assist, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So I'm sure he's going to be very, very happy about that. And Lix as well, picking up his first podium of the season. So now, of course, I think doubling his points total. He was on 13 before the start of this race. He's now up to 28 points for the Alfa Romeo as well. And wow. I mean, they played the strategy perfectly. Bunty from 15th to 1st, RJ from 10th to 2nd, and Lix from 8th to 3rd. Played out perfectly for them. Bunty takes his first win of the season. RJ takes 2nd, Lix 3rd, Killer in 4th. Started and finished in 4th. What could have been for Killer had he made a bit of an earlier pit stop. I think he would have definitely had the charge of that win, but will still remain up in the lead of this championship. Luke finishes in 5th. Darry in 6th. So all those guys in that championship still relatively close to each other. Creco finished in 9th in the end. So dropped down a few points from those other championship contenders. Larkin 7th, more games in 8th, up 10 positions as well, the Irishman. Rick, what could have been for him had he made a pit stop a bit earlier, ended up finishing in 10th in the end with the fastest lap, so at least he picks up that extra point. That Scream finishes in 11th, and Tope taking the final points position. Ben JS, Rezify, Brent, Timon, Marcio, slash Evans, and Rex all DNFers, and of course Slash getting disqualified as well. From a bit of a, as I said, a BS call, but that, I can't lie, yeah. I think that might actually be our race of the season so far, because that was just. I know there was about 4 safety cars that came out and caused them, but there was nothing shy of chaos and strategy that just played perfectly into the hands of those guys in the top 3.
Yeah, definitely did, and to have a sensational engine, I don't think we actually got that. But I'm just struggling to get licks into this. I added the other 2 guys in. But yeah, hopefully we can get these guys in for some interviews.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm sure we'll see Bunty and RJ in at least for some interviews. Hopefully we'll see Licks in as well. But I know we should be definitely seeing Bunty and RJ in for some podium interviews. But wow, I said, what a race that was from those top 3. Very, very well done from all of those guys as well. And as I said, hopefully we can get those in very soon. Of course, we got round number 10 next week around Hungary. A bit of I would say almost a similar circuit to Australia, but is definitely a lot different now in comparison to what it was last season. So we're not going to get Licks in for any podium interviews. But yeah, Hungary, of course, next week, as I said, could play a bit of an interesting factor. We could see maybe something similar to this of what happened tonight. And see if strategy plays it into effect. And speaking of that, we better start off with our race winner, Bunty. I'm sure you was not expecting to be winning this race tonight, but you pulled it off in the end. How are you feeling after that one?
Oh Jesus, I've been crying the last 5 minutes. It's incredible. I mean, today, it was just funnily enough, was my 18th birthday, and I was thinking on my 18th birthday, like, surely I'll just go for points. And I mean, if don't know how that happened. I think, it's just stuff you dream of. I just don't believe it. I mean, congrats obviously to RJ. I mean, he's a great driver. I know sometimes obviously we come to blows, and obviously I'm very thankful that Licks held off the rest of the pack, but it's just I'm in disbelief. All kinds of emotions. Yeah.
Like I said, you 3 and on the podium played that strategy to absolute perfection. I want to ask, that move in that last lap, how much was you absolutely bricking doing that? Because I could see you was trying to eye it up, but we thought that you was just going to remain behind and then go for it at the exit of the S's. But I mean, you blew our minds, and you done it before the S's. Was you in that last lap? Shall I say? Was you absolutely scared for going for that move, or you full sent it and it worked?
Yeah.
Was you
I
expecting
knew
that to happen?
RJ's. I knew that if I waited after the chicane, because I've been trying, I think early on in the race to overtake Larkin, it wasn't a good place to overtake. And I knew quite good with switchbacks back in D3 Brazil. I did a few, so I faked the dummies to the outside. I mean, it just at the time I was shaking on the steering wheel. I'm very obviously glad I was racing RJ. I know other drivers would have into like the chicane probably kept the car there, but RJ obviously backed out, which it was just all round just a nice move and clean driving, and I'm just so pleased with that move. I just don't believe how it happened. Like, just in a moment, you're just breathing short breaths, just your heart's going at a rate of like 120 beats. I'm not sure if RJ's ever like won a race. I kind of feel almost rude to go for the overtake, because I know some of the guys in the league being here a while, and they obviously deserve to win as much as I do. But it's unbelievable. I just went for the switchback and it just worked. It was crazy.
Race is a race at the end of the day, and of course you was the one that ended up coming out on top of that. In that race as well, obviously there were plenty of safety cars that came out. Was there any chance, because when on that final safety car you saw that there were soft runners towards the back end of the grid, was there any sort of thought that they may be coming to threat for those for you? And of course I'll ask the same to RJ soon, but did you think that they may have posed a threat towards you, or do you think that you always knew it was going to be between you and RJ?
I think they pitted lap 20 out of 29, so I knew by using the mediums in practice, I knew softs I think go off fairly quick. So I kind of expected them to catch up, and I knew our three at the front aren't the used to being at the front, so I expected them to overtake us. But I found kind of a bit of security with the hard runners behind me. I think I had Killer and the QVR guy. I've completely forgot his name, but I expected them to make moves. I saw Larkin at the end popped up. I saw he had a penalty though, so I was a bit relieved. But yeah, I was just staying patient. At the end of the day, when you're at the front, you don't want to lose time, and especially to the soft runners or just anyone who was fast. I thought there'd be some fast medium runners behind, but you're only looking at the top 5 positions, and towards the end I only saw Larkin. But yeah, we at the front still managed to hang on. Yeah, quite lucky. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, no, as I said, it was it was an insane race towards the end of that as well. Hungary next week for round number 10. Are you hoping to try and at least get yourself back onto the podium for next week, or do you reckon that was just a bit of a one-off and you're just hoping that you can try and at least do a bit better throughout the rest of the season?
Oh, that's a one-off for sure. I think that's my career is done and dusted. I mean, I don't think I'll be able to do that again or replicate it. But a podium, I mean, I'm not going to be stupid in here and say I'm here to be on a podium. I know my pace. I know it's towards the back of the midfield, not even in the midfield. So I'll probably be looking to pick up a few scraps of points. But yeah. Also, just one last thing. Just with the win, obviously, just a few guys who are watching probably from FRL know Mads, and just this win's definitely for Mads. But yeah, that's my last comment.
Go from 6 points up to 31 points and up to what I believe is 11th in the standings from 20th. So congratulations to you for that one, Bunty. Any questions here for our race winner for tonight?
Honestly, no. I want to just congratulate you, and yeah, I think definitely you played it extremely well on the ERS side of things. I saw definitely RJ and also earlier Rick, and just a lot of guys just kind of struggling with that, trying to push each other out of the DRS, and you kind of kept calm and kept the ERS going, and yeah, it just saved you enough on the last lap. I think that it helped you. So just want to say well done on that.
Yeah, and obviously thanks for you two commentating. If there's no stream, it wouldn't be captured. So thanks to you guys for always commentating on all DT races.
No worries at all. Yeah, as I said, congratulations once again for taking that win for tonight as well, Bunty. We'll move on over to our second place finisher, who is probably not feeling as great about it. It is his first podium of the season, though. But RJ, Ross, what a way to end up losing that race. You were so controlled throughout that since that first safety car. How was that race for you? Because it looked like you had that you could have had that in the bag until that final safety car came out.
To be honest, the race itself, I'm a bit gutted because my whole plan was drop Licks, and then Licks made a mistake, and I knew Bunty was just going to stick to the back of me, and it was like, I can't do anything once he gets DRS. But in the context of everything, I'm buzzing because the run of races that I've had is well, it's horrendous. So just to even score points, but to be in the lead of the race and finishing second is a miracle, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, after that first safety car, you did make that early pit stop from the mediums to the hards. Was you quite surprised that your teammate and Killer didn't end up pitting sooner? Well, I suppose Ben couldn't, but was you surprised that Killer didn't pit sooner to try and go for a set of the hards, or was you not really surprised at all and just you was focusing on your own thing?
Yeah, me and Ben were a bit surprised when he didn't. Like Ben pit on, I think, the second lap of the safety car, so he lost a lot of places anyway. But Yeah, it was just a bit weird because then I think he pit on the next safety car, which he dropped even further back. So yeah, it was a bit strange, but that looked out with that safety car because I just right timing. I think I was at the penultimate corner, so I went straight in. I didn't I didn't even like call them out or anything. So it's just perfect timing, and somehow I got to the front because of that. So yeah, just good timing, and with Jake it was yeah, it was just a bit weird. He didn't pit straight away.
And of course, with that last lap move, was you expecting Bunty to go for it in the S's when you saw him so close, or was you expecting that he was just going to sit behind you and then go for it out of the exit of the S's?
Well, I knew the ERS situation. I knew he had about 30% more than me or something. So I kind of just accepted it at a point. He's either going to go for it here or there. If I defend here, he's just going to overtake me down the DRS straight. So yeah, when he went for it, I've raced against Bunty enough that when he has a gap, he just goes for it every time. Like he does that, which is there's nothing wrong with that if you're going to do it cleanly, which he did. But yeah, once I saw him shaping to the inside, I just kind of let him go because I knew I had nothing to fight with. Because it was after the detection point for the DRS as well. So
Yeah, no, it certainly was. And of course, we got Hungary for next week. You do seem to be in a little bit of form so far. Of course, last week in Britain, he's looking on for a good result. Unfortunately, didn't go your way. But now, of course, second here, are you looking to maybe try and keep this form going and hopefully try and get yourself back on the podium for next week as well?
I think pace-wise, Britain was a bit of an anomaly. Like the pace today wasn't great. I just didn't get involved in any of the crashes that everyone else got involved in. But we'll see. It's a long 7 days, isn't it? So Hungary requires me actually trying to put in the practice. But we'll see. I normally go all right around Hungary. So if I can score points next week, 2 points finishes in a row, that's progress for me this season. So yeah, that's what I'm aiming for anyway.
Yeah, no, exactly. As I said, hopefully that is the case for you, and hopefully we do see you back on the podium very soon as well. Any questions for our second place finisher for tonight? Yeah.
Well, congratulations on second place. I guess it's a bit of a bittersweet feeling. Around looking at the rest of the season, is there any track you're particularly looking at you might be able to be close to repeating this?
Wait, let me just have a look at the rest of the season. Here we go. I'd say I always say Jeddah. Jeddah or Abu Dhabi, I'd say. I'll be honest, none of the tracks really suit me at all, but except from those two. So it's the back end of the season at that point, but that's what I'm looking for. I'll do what I normally do. I'll just try and scrape points everywhere. I'll just try and keep it clean, which I haven't done a lot this season. And I'll just try and pick up points wherever I can. But Jeddah and Abu Dhabi, I'd say.
Fair enough.
So as I say, congratulations, RJ, for taking second place for tonight. I said hopefully we do see you back on the podium. Hopefully towards that top step very soon as well. As I said, Lix isn't going to be joining us unfortunately for podium interviews. So that is that. Yeah. Any closing thoughts for this race for tonight?
Honestly, a very chaotic race, as you mentioned, and yeah, still kind of coming down from what happened, but yeah, to have that sort of conclusion to the race is always nice to see, and to keep that clean as well. Mostly around, very good race to watch, honestly.
Certainly was, and hopefully we do see more of that to come. Of course, not the chaotic side, but hopefully a lot more cleaner and a lot more closer racing very, very soon. I said we have got round number 10 next week around the Hungaroring. Make sure you guys are tuning into that for Division 1 and Division 3, covered by James Head and QVR Killer, and Division 3 covered by Jess Gamer and Evil Dragon at 6:30 p.m. British Standard Time, British Summer Time, as well as at 8:10 p.m. British Summertime covered for Division 4 and Division 2. Division 2 by myself and QVR Verstappen, and Division 4 covered by the American duo of QVR Packer and Alt Maverick. Make sure you guys are tuned into all 4 of those divisions as things are now starting to spice up through the season. As I said, we're now past the halfway point of the season with another 8 more races to go. Make sure you guys are tuning in throughout the season. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in for tonight, and we'll catch you guys next week for